We are live. Good evening, love and enlightenment,
Evening,
family.
bless, evening blessings and salutations. I know I
Good
missed
evening,
that.
everyone.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Oh, thank
Um,
you for
I
the
just
last.
making sure. By the way, is
How did
everybody's
I?
volume off?
Yeah, but how did I still manage? You went over that, and I still managed to screw that up. I don't understand that. We just went over that,
Exactly.
right?
Louis, it's your
You
way.
know?
Louis is your way. It's your way, Louis.
Oh, okay. And then you stay in your lane too. How about that?
It's just the naturalness of
How
you.
about
You
that?
can't help
How about
that.
that? Okay, I get from you.
The
No,
love,
I did
the
not mess
love,
up. I didn't mess up. You messed up. Sorry.
The
Oh
show
my
just started. You got a lot of time.
the love is real. Good evening, Lord.
I don't call that love.
Mira, someone's I'm hearing it.
That's Louis again, messing up again.
Someone's phone or
Somebody's
something
phone is
is,
too close to the
yeah,
speaker.
or their volume is the volume needs to
Oh,
come
it
down.
stopped? Oh, it was
Yes,
Pinky
sir.
all along. See, it was Pinky.
Once again,
Again.
It was not me. Sorry.
Okay. Oh, wait, 1 second. We have one more to say goodnight.
Good night, guys.
Good
Hey,
night,
Good
Ranchy
night.
Ranch.
Ranchy Dan. What going on?
My lucky soldier there.
I hear that. I hear that.
I want to tell everybody good evening again. And we have two guests with us tonight. We have Miss Patricia Evans and we have Mr. Ranchi. I'm not gonna do it.
I was waiting for
Joining
you.
us from St. Martin. So tonight we wanted to discuss breakups. I think everybody, once you get to a certain age, have experienced some form of breakup in your life. But at the end of the day, and it's just a fact of life, people are going to have breakups, be it in careers, in family, in relationships, whatever the case may be. And as a result, we experience heartbreak. So tonight we wanted to discuss number one, what does it look like? What did it look like for you? And if there's a difference between how it shows up in men versus women, and then ultimately, what did you do or anyone you know do to be able to get over onto the other side? Because ultimately, that's the goal, to be able to move on. So, who would like to start first? I mean, we could go in order, but
we should go in order.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
okay.
The stars
So
in the
then
sky in there.
let's start to the bottom. Mr. Ranchi.
No, it don't make sense to start to the bottom because we gotta start from the top, come down. You know, start by y'all, listen.
That's the order.
I the youngest one. I the youngest one here, so it gonna be right if I go first.
All the more we giving the chance. But anyway, what are we doing? What are we talking about?
Okay, so Mr. Llanos,
Yes.
have you experienced heartbreak or
Oh my
major heartbreak
God.
in your
How many?
life?
I think the question is how many times? I think that's a question.
Good. Then that means you're resilient because you're
course.
laughing
Most
and you're
definitely.
alive. Okay.
Listen. We all, I was talking to somebody. We're trying to decide or determine rather, the comparison between how women feel pain and how women process and how men process. It varies, and at the end of the day, I think it applies to both. That we all do it the same because pain is pain. We all cut, we bleed red. If somebody hit me upside the head with a bat and hit you upside the head with a bat, you're gonna feel that too. We all have emotions. So yeah, we all suffer, some just more than others. You guys have heard me talk about my great breakup. That was a hella breakup because the way it was done. You see, there's breakups and then there's tactical breakups. That was heavy. And I had to take me a minute to deal with that. But I got over it, and we up to this day we cool.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. But as a result, was it just a breakup and you were able to just move on, or did it cause a little bit of heartache?
No, yeah, I had some fluttering.
Well,
in the
I
house.
would think so, because you're still
I had
talking
some.
about it all now. So
You
it
see,
caused some kind of.
because it was a hell of a lesson. Most definitely. Yeah, it was crushed. Yeah, it was crushed. I think ego was crushed more than anything. You know what I mean? Because I always thought I was on top of things. Apparently, I wasn't. I slacked off, and as a result of that, came this tactical great breakup. I mean, I ain't gonna go into the deep.
What is
I'm not
that?
gonna go. Tactical meaning that everything was timed. It wasn't just finding out and then the breakup. No, she waited, and she gathered information. She was doing her research, and she had the right information. I couldn't deny it. There was research, conversations we had.
That was FBI.
If it was CIA, FBI, everybody, she was just like, I'm telling you, it was crazy. So that left, and again, I think it was more that the ego was crushed more than anything, because I thought, like I said, I was on top of everything, but lesson learned. I'm telling you, lesson learned.
Very good.
Lesson learned in the sense that you are apologetic.
Lesson learned that I shouldn't do that. That's what that was. Apologetic. Of course, I could apologize. Does it mean
But what
anything?
is it that you shouldn't have done? You shouldn't have done the carelessness that led to you being found out, or what you actually did?
Really, Pinky?
Pat, I think you want to answer the question. I think I didn't say what I had to say. I said what I had to say.
We've heard about this great breakup like every
And I've
week,
talked about it. I said what I had to say. So I don't know if you weren't listening, or you probably went to get some milk or something. I don't know. I've talked about
it.
But do you also have to remember, Louis, that everybody hasn't watched every show, so they might have heard about that there's this great breakup, but I don't know if you want to go into any more detail.
And you mentioned you learned your lessons.
I think I went into as much details as I can go into.
Okay.
I need to
I'm
protect.
trying to get you to go into no details. You say you learned a lesson, so I just wanted to know if it was something that could be helpful to the listening audience. That's all I was asking.
Pinky, why you attacking my boy, man? Why you attacking my boy?
This is a question I want to ask you. Was the lesson in it that you learned not to be sloppy, or was the lesson learned not to do whatever it is that you did? No,
not to do what it is. And it involved being with multiple women. Let me just put that on, because that's what Pinky want to hear. But that's what it was. Really, that's what it was at the end of the day. And I've learned, you're dealing, I was also told by the same individual, when you mess with grown-up emotions, you're going to get grown-up reactions. That ain't something you want to get involved in. Gotcha. So yeah, and that was a long time ago, just long time ago. Just put that on.
Okay, so it was lesson learned, definitely.
Oh, very much.
I wasn't trying to get you to speak your business at all.
No, but think, big deal. I mean, ain't no secret. I mean, I did some damage. I talked about that before too. I even talked about, as a matter of fact, I think on one of our shows, like Debbie said, not everybody listened to or watched the shows.
Right.
But I even mentioned, I use this platform to openly apologize for any pain that I have caused to the women that have probably been watching or part of the show. I don't know if they are, but I did use this platform to do that, because I talked about how important it is to get that message across to people and pain that we've caused during the lifetime. And I just thought it was important to say that.
Okay. We'll come back to you.
No, you don't have to. We're good.
How about you, Patricia?
I went through I was married for 32 years, and that ended, and that kind of devastated me for a couple of years. It wasn't easy, and I dealt with it on my own internally. And eventually I had to go and get counseling and talk about it so that I can release it out my system, because it was destroying me. So that was my one and only. So I didn't have different relationships with other people. That was just that one. So it was hard, and I didn't know how to deal with it or how to cope with it. But I had to learn and did a lot of praying. I prayed a lot about it, asking God to release me from it, because don't want to go back into that relationship or any other relationship, knowing that that's the kind of behavior that they display. So it was kind of hard. It was kind of hard at first, but I got over it through the years.
Okay. Because that's one of the things that I find interesting when I was kind of like looking up information on this in terms of men and women, that a lot of times it's, and again, this is a general statement. And again, for everybody who's listening, this is just a conversation. Nobody here is a professional other than the fact that we've had experiences.
Well, I could be a professional how not to do it.
Okay. Well, okay.
I can tell you. I can give you some real pointers.
But one of the things that's very interesting is that a lot of times women do take time to heal, to do whatever they need to do to get over the hump, versus men a lot of times will get back into another relationship, not to necessarily deal with it, but to kind of forget it.
But Debbie, both
again,
men
that's
and
an
women do that.
overgeneralization. That's an over. No, I'm not saying both, but I'm just saying.
But women do that also. Women actually do use another person to get over from another relationship. So that's what I mentioned earlier about it working both ways.
Right.
Because we may be processed different, but we do that as well.
Right.
Both men and women.
Right. It's true. And that's what I was saying. It's an overgeneralization.
It is.
But a lot of times that just seems to be how, and again, it's our makeup. It is just how men think. It's the ego thing as well. So you don't think it's true, Lucien?
But you're going back to this how men think, and I don't think
women do the same exact thing.
Very same thing.
What's the word? You to get over one, you have to lay under another or some shit.
Yeah.
I think Catherine was asking Luis a question about
Hold on.
have you been hurt?
Have you been hurt?
Have I been hurt?
Bad behavior.
Most definitely I was hurt. Especially, here's the thing. When you, I'm gonna just put it out there like that. When you cheat, you don't think you're gonna get caught. So even though you may be putting all the emotions, everything into this. When you cheat, you don't think you're gonna get caught. You don't think so. So here it is, where you're with this person and you're doing what you're doing, but you still have the emotional attachment to the person that you're in love with, or that you feel that you're in love with, or you have this love for this person. You cheat because you can. You cheat because it was available. And women, let me tell you this, women make it so much easier because women want what they can't have. I don't hear nobody say anything, but that's the truth.
What do you mean by no? Because I'm trying to process
because women see men with other women and they want that. Okay, so they make it easier and make themselves more accessible. Let's talk about also there's a shortage. There's been a shortage of men for quite some time. We all know this. So that makes it even more easy. And I'm saying this, I don't want to make it seem like it's right. I'm not saying that because it's right, but I'm just saying that because it's accessible. Now, yes, I felt pain. I felt pain because I felt a lot of pain because of what transpired and how it went down. And what was taken over from me was what I was really into more than.
But did you feel the pain? Did you feel the pain because you were caught, or did you feel the pain because you didn't?
Being caught isn't
because painful. You caused pain to someone else.
Well, that's the thing. Being caught, it wasn't painful being caught. I was caught. That doesn't hurt. What hurt is the fact that I'm not with her anymore, and she doesn't want me anymore because of my actions. Okay. So the getting caught is just you get caught. I don't think there's any pain involved with that. That's just what it is. But once there's emotional attachment, like I said, and you lose this person, then yeah, you definitely feel pain. That's the answer. Who asked the question?
Catherine Johnson.
Catherine Johnson.
So to answer your question, Catherine, yes, there was definitely pain involved, especially because, like I said, I prefaced by saying that when we started, men feel too. Men have emotions too. Don't let nobody tell how different a man don't hurt. Men hurt. Men hurt.
Okay. Well, and again, having these conversations for people who
you hurt in such a different way.
And
Right.
everyone is individual. Everyone is.
Go ahead, Patricia.
Some men hurt it. They said it hurts because of they got caught or whatever. But then, how do you process that hurt and then just move on so quickly?
Well, let me tell you something, Patricia, and this is what I've learned. Like, people think, I'll just use me for an example. I've realized that, like, whenever I break up with somebody, I just cut them off, like, totally, like, no phone calls, no nothing. Because my thing about it is that if you know you did something wrong, you know what I'm saying, why are you trying to beg back that person? And all that does is prolong the inevitable because they're not trying to get back with you. Now, talking about, like, I was dating somebody and, like, we broke up. And then within, like, 2 weeks, she was, like, talking to somebody else. And within 2 to 3 months, that person was gone. She picked up somebody else. And within 4 to 5 months, that person was gone. Because the person is not truly, they don't really care for that individual. They're just using that individual to try to get over the situation that y'all had. So it's like you're putting a Band-Aid on this, like, sore that's, like, it's not going to go away. No matter how much you try to invest in that other person, you still got feelings for that main person. So people can say what they want, even if they move on. Like, I have a friend right now, and she and her husband going through a divorce, and she left him. You know what I'm saying? But I'm seeing her, and she's going through it. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to him. He's going through it too. But the whole thing about it is, like, when you leave one situation thinking another situation is better, that old situation is still going to be there. You haven't gotten over it. Even if you were mad with that individual, you still haven't gotten over it. Being mad is a sense of that's your body still dealing with like, emotions, because you still have emotions for that person. So yeah, so if you see them move on quick, just be like, okay, that's good, and don't call them, don't talk to them, leave them alone, because that's the time for them to think about, do I miss this person within my my vicinity?
Yeah,
And
but
they
it's
do.
also, but I think it's also for the other person, their healing can't start until they cut it off. Because I think sometimes what happens is we prolong it by trying.
And you strengthen the person too. You're strengthening the person, because if I left you for somebody else, right, and you keep on calling me, all you're doing is just reinforcing that I did the right thing. Now, if I don't talk to you, I don't text them, I don't have no kind of communication, you know, in your mind, you're like, man, did I do the right thing? Because I missed this person. So it's a crazy psychological game of sorts that your mind plays with yourself. Trust and believe.
But again, heartbreak is not just in situations where someone cheated, there was infidelity. Because heartbreak could just be that, you know, you trusted someone and maybe they did something with finances, or you trusted someone and again, it's not even just in a platonic romantic relationship. It could be in your career. It could be, you know, a parent, a sibling. So we don't want to just make it that it's about infidelity, but it can be in so many different areas that you therefore then experience the heartbreak.
And piggybacking on that thought as well, is also dealing with a certain level of brokenness. Because sometimes people, like, you know, you're so broken that I just can't reach you, and I just can't deal with your brokenness anymore. You know what I'm saying? Or even my brokenness is not allowing me to be vulnerable enough to, like, be in a relationship, you know? So there's always an underlying factor that, you know, besides cheating, that relationship ends.
True. Pinky, your turn.
Okay. That was a lot. So the thing, of course, yeah, my heart get broken. You know that. Multiple times. So it's a part of life, right? like you say, your heart get broken in many different situations, scenarios. You mentioned, you're trying them to break your heart sometimes, you know? It don't have to be, it don't always be a situation where it's indefinite. It could be temporary, you know? Your boss, I never had one, thank God, they never break my heart. But, you know, the thing that I want to address about heartbreak is that it's an emotional pain, right? It's not tangible. It's not like a broken foot or something that we could see and it takes time to heal. Every individual is different and everyone will go through their healing process differently. In the healing process, there are so many layers that you have to, like for Patricia and me and you, who've been in long-term relationships for like 20-something years, 30-something years. And in our discussion last night, we were talking about that. There is so many layers you have to peel back from this heartbreak in this one specific relationship. But sometimes the one specific relationship that cause all kind of other heartbreaks, you know, like people who was a part of your group, they don't want nothing to do with you no more. It's just a whole bunch of things. So my thing about addressing the heartbreak is that we need to understand that it is not simple. It is very complex and it takes time. And we have to show up for people. We have to know that in their heart, we need to show up for them and not reprimand them and lecture them about how they've been going through this behavior for way too long or whatever. Everybody experience is different and we just gotta give people the room so that they could heal. Just like you would give a broken foot room so it could heal, it's the same thing. That's all I want to say about that.
Okay. How about you? You want to go back to you, Lucian?
She gonna talk about her personal heartbreak, though, man. I mean, I did.
I was heartbroken very young in life.
We want details.
I was heartbroken very young in life. It was an ugly situation. Somebody get pregnant for the guy I was dating. Very ugly.
Oh wow!
Right? Yeah, that was yeah.
And you were young.
So I am very familiar with heartbreak.
But let me answer that, you see, because you said you were young, and you know, going back
I was in high school when that happened.
Okay, so here's the thing. I was young at the time when I did my daughter, and what I'm alluding to is, as we mature, as we get older, you tend to become a little bit more empathetic towards people and situations, and so you look at not wanting to inflict pain. So I'm saying to you that maybe that happened then, but I think now, for me, now it's totally different. I think if I dating anybody and somebody show up pregnant, that's gonna be a heartbreak. I think no, then you know it don't matter. And also when I was married, like I was heartbroken many times in my marriage because you have a vision and the way in which you think your life would be going with this individual. It don't end up going that way. You know, people that disappoint you in many different ways. And a lot of time people just being themselves. Like if you die in a relationship and you grow up with somebody, like, you know, we've been in these relationships where we grew up with people growing up, you know, and they don't make some bad decisions and we don't be a part of them bad decisions, as well as we don't be making bad decisions and be a part of that, you know. And Vincent dying, I was heartbroken from that. And I was also heartbroken. That's a good point, because I wanted you to show you to brought that in, because that itself is major heartbreak, regardless of what's going on.
But what also was heartbreaking to me was the fact that he had passed away. We had a lot of unresolved issues and we could not address them. So there was a lot of unresolved things. And one part of my heartbreak was the fact that I felt that I had done some things to break his heart also. And I could never apologize for that. So those, like I said, it'll be so much different layers of things, you know. We think it's the person cheat or the person, it'll be a lot of things. But my thing is, we have to address ourselves in this situation. And a lot of times, this situation ain't good anyway. So, you know, what is it that is causing us to hold on so tight? You know, that was my situation in my marriage. I was heartbroken, but it wasn't the best situation anyway. You know what I mean? So It
Well-
needed to go separate ways.
Right. Okay. Let me.
We're just gonna read a
I'm
comment.
trying to incorporate everybody. First, Wanda said if the offender caught themselves, asked for forgiveness, and wanted another chance, would you give them that chance? Wanda, my answer to that would be it depends how vested you are in that relationship. And if this had happened many times, then you know the answer to that. If it was the first time, I think it really depends. How vested are you in that situation, in that relationship? Because maybe if it was something new, then you're not going to give the person a chance. But if it's something that you've invested 10, 20, 30 years, you have hopes and dreams and everything that are involved in that relationship. And to just say you don't give somebody a chance or, give them forgiveness, I think it really depends on what the situation is. You know what I'm saying? Because if it's just a cheating situation, maybe somebody might be able to. But if it's that person committed some crime, that might be something different. So I really think it's an individual situation. And I want Ranchi to answer that question, but let me just say what Kima says. Kima said, I dated a guy at an old job. Then he became my boss and I subsequently broke it off. He was so miserable and couldn't do his work. So I changed work sites.
Kima is a heartbreaker too.
Oh my God. So my question to you, Ranchi, is if you were in a situation and the person did something to you, who broke your heart, asked for forgiveness, and wanted another chance, would you give them that chance?
I most definitely would give them another chance, but it will really depend on the relationship. I would give them a next chance. For me, my point of view, if this person brings me peace, if this person brings me happiness, if this person is a person I could throw out my sorrows with, that could deal with me and could handle me and hold me down.
Regardless of the infraction?
Yeah, regardless of that, that would be like whatever. I could look past that. If they're able to move past it, I could move past it. Because finding somebody that could make you happy, find somebody that could be your how to say? Your nest. Your nest. Your home. Somebody that could hold you down.
Wait, let me use Pinky example. What if she get pregnant from somebody else?
If she get pregnant for somebody else,
yeah.
Just bust the whole thing open.
I'm just saying. You say regardless of the infraction, so I use a Pinky example.
Situation that different.
That changed everything.
That would change everything. That changes the dynamic.
So be careful how you say that. Be careful how you say that. Right?
Based off of the infraction, if you cheat. If you cheat, that's no problem. That's whatever. Because no matter, in my view, everybody going to do it some kind of how. So I could look past that. We could move past that. I'm not a person to hold on to anger and like stress. I don't like stress. I don't like none of that. I like joy. I like happiness. Let's laugh and be good. So if
what about trust? I mean, would you be able to trust that person? Like,
of course.
Really?
Trust and loyalty is heavy. Trust and loyalty is heavy. That's very important.
Yeah. Why would if I not trust you for one action, how could I trust anybody in general? Everybody lied to somebody already. Everybody cheated on somebody already. Everybody done wrong already. So that means everybody you meet, you're supposed to look at them some kind of how. Because if I get in a relationship,
that's not true, Ranchi. Everybody.
If I get into a relationship with you, Pinky, I get into a relationship with you, Pinky, and you tell me about your past relationship, I don't want to question your role in that relationship or why it went bad. So after my brain going to be spinning backwards all the time, wondering if you're telling me the truth or if you're lying to me. For me to be
everybody ain't cheat and everybody
everybody ain't cheat, but everybody got a flaw.
Of course, we are
perfect. Whether it's cheating, like Deborah was saying, whether it's financial, whether it's this, whether it's a melee, whether you carry this or you do that, everybody got a flaw. And for me to hold that now against you, that's gonna bother me more than me just enjoying myself. If I could be happy, why I can't be happy?
So suppose now that like her flaw is just liking to sleep with man. Like, I mean,
if she flaw liking to
That's
sleep with man, then she gotta get fellow. Then she gotta get
suppose
a
her
man
flaw is like she
that
like
like
to
the
sleep
fact
with her
that
man.
she's sleeping with other man.
Yeah, suppose that's her flaw. Like she like to sleep with other man. Then what?
And that's what I'm saying. If she's a woman that like to sleep with other man, she gotta find herself a man that's going to accept her sleeping with other man. 'Cause I ain't that man.
She's a runner. She's a runner. She's a track star.
You understand? So then she gonna run that way. But at the same time, too, you're not going to get in a relationship with somebody you don't know. You're going to date. You're going to get to know each other. You're going to pick out each other's interests. What you like, what I don't like. You know, you're gonna figure out each other before you decide to get married, whole relationship. Love, and all of that.
So if she say Ranchi, well, you know, like I love dining out. I also like sleeping with multiple men, and I like you know, I like going to breakfast in the morning or some shit like the beginning of the conversation. What would be your thought on that?
She like she like going breakfast in the morning. No problem. I don't eat in the morning too. She needs to have man.
Like she has to have multiple men.
Oh, but then she gotta go and find out with somebody else. Cause I ain't that guy.
Okay. That's just being in
I
an open
that she can't
relationship.
cover. Yeah, I a part that she can't cover. So I ain't gonna work out. So I gonna have to find somebody that more my speed. She gotta find somebody that more she speed. I on 2G, she on 10G.
Mm-hmm.
So our speed's off. But infractions and them little things, you need to say, I personally like happiness. And if you could bring me happiness and laughter, and I could just be happy to be around you, I could look past the little infidelities.
Valid point, Ranchi. It's about
the little things.
Bringing peace and happiness to the whole.
Yeah, that's me. That's my personal opinion. That's on me.
Well,
Everybody
I did forgive him for getting a girl pregnant. So,
see,
okay, I did that. In my first relationship. I was in a relationship.
Let's hear his story. Go ahead.
Yeah, I got someone pregnant, but I actually was, how to say it? I had really liked that person because we were checking, but we were young. It was like a young thing. So years after, meet again, talking. But I was in a relationship, talking. Boop. Yeah, she got pregnant. That happened, relationship fall apart, and then I got into another relationship, but not with none of the two. And recently, that fall apart as well. Yeah, so I actually literally going through a breakup for the last 4 or 5 months. Yeah.
When you say you're going through a breakup,
not going through. We broke up. Sorry.
Because what it's like to be going through a breakup.
That's it. Let me fix it. Is
it that we done and we trying to get back together, or
no? We done. We done. That happened. Ain't going through.
You say you're going through for the past couple of months, so
that's what I'm saying. I mean,
there's still some emotional attachment. In other words, the question is, there's still some emotional attachment there because
definitely.
It's fresh, it's recent, so you can't just cut off emotions, and that's what I'm saying. You can't just cut off, stop feeling for people like that overnight. I don't know how people do that.
Ain't no cut off. Ain't no cut off like emotions die away. Like we just talk, we deal. She have a child for me. This is my daughter's mother. So no matter what, I gonna forever love that woman, just like the love I have for my other 2 kids' parents. Like no matter what, we together and we have to raise these children together, so we gotta be good either way. So to go.
So let me ask you a question.
Only other women felt that way.
For you, again, and I'm asking you only this question because you're younger, right? So if you're saying that you're going through this still for 3-4 months, that means that you're taking time, or is it that you're just honestly not looking right now for anybody else?
I honestly, we're not going through. We broke up.
Right.
So we broke up in January. Yeah, January. So I would say 5 months, you could say. Yeah, so we broke up. And then I personally know where I wrong and where I will not get back into a relationship with nobody right now. 'Cause I ain't seeking for that. 'Cause I haven't been honestly single in forever. Like my first relationship started when I was 14. That ended when I was 20. Let me see, 23.
You haven't been single for a long time, you said?
Yeah, and after that, it was just like a short year break. And then I got into a next one, which lasted 7 years, which just ended. So it's like, I really haven't been single. So to get to be alone and know myself and what I need and that kind of stuff. I know what I like in a relationship, but at the same time, you need to know what it is to be alone. So I just going to ride that road now, being alone by
So
myself.
are you using that time? Are you using that time to heal
Yeah,
from
of course, definitely.
the breakups, from what happened, or you just staying single because you don't want to get in a relationship right now?
I'm staying single because I don't want to get in a relationship right now. I'm also staying single to heal because I know where I went wrong in my previous relationship. So you gotta know where to patch those holes. In my
So you're
opinion, I
trying
don't need to run
to
into nothing.
Proud of you.
you're trying to work on yourself so that you can be a better person for the person who you just broke up with,
Or for the next breakup?
or for somebody new.
For the next story, the
Okay.
next chapter, where there's a character in the book already that appear in the book, or is a new character that gonna jump into the story.
Well,
So
everyone
whoever-
is a learning experience, right? So
Exactly. So just to live and move, you live, you learn, you move.
but at what point?
I just gotta be happy. Whatever it is, I
will
need
you?
to be happy.
Well, here's the thing. The question of, you think you'll ever find the one that you will just stay with him forever and that's it? Is it too early for that?
I won't say it's too early for that. I would just say that I ain't hit every nick on my bucket list. So I ain't do every arm of rudeness yet. So I think I'll use this time to get arm of rudeness out my system.
Okay.
Didn't Grantley say something like that? And we were talking about this last night, that one of the things I think I have come to understand is that again, when people are doing certain infractions and causing heartbreak for people, a lot of times it's because of things that they haven't resolved within themselves. And so then it comes out in this bad behavior. But one of the things that I think I'm starting to understand is that, I think women have the capability, and again, I am generalizing. I think women have the capability of being able to get into a relationship and be in a relationship for a long time. But I think men need a certain period of their life where they explore and they just, it's sort of like the wild, the males leave the pack and go out there in the wilderness.
Yeah.
And
men are hunters by nature.
Right. But I think that there's innately, and again, overgeneralizing, because I'm not saying every man is that way, but I do believe that sometimes when you haven't had that opportunity to just be out there as a single person for a long time, and again, this goes to women as well, but I think it's especially true with men, that a lot of times then it therefore shows up in bad behavior when you get into relationships, because there's sort of like a growth period that you didn't really get to experience, a maturity level that you haven't gained because you haven't had that opportunity to be out there.
Exactly.
I won't call it a maturity level. I would just call it your bucket list. People just look at it as maturity, but then you have people in the 50s and 60s still doing things. And then you'll say, oh, that's for young kids. Like, at some point, you're supposed to stop drinking Santaps. Like, if you like a Santap, drink a Santap.
What's that Santap?
What?
A box juice, sorry.
Oh, okay.
The kitty juices, like a Capri Sun. Like, there's no age to stop anything. If you mean to say you gotta live your life,
But do you
so you have to experience your life. I
What
feel
you're
people is running to
saying
violence
is,
with
for
it.
me, what I understand, you could correct me if I'm wrong. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm listening to you. You have a lot to explore. Meanwhile, while you're exploring this, you're hurting other females in that process. That's something good.
I don't think you'll be hurting other
Would you?
females
I have this
unless
philosophy that you do unto
unless
others as you want them to you.
Treat
True.
people how you want to be treated. Correct.
correct. I feel there's a spot though where you shouldn't lie. If I come to you and I tell you let me experience this, let me do so and so, and you agree to it, I'm not misleading you. I know a lot of people that is mislead to get what they want and then leave because they get what they want, so then they out. But I'm not misleading you. If me and you have a adult conversation, we decide, hey, no, let me have a little fun like this. Let me live like we're together or whatever the case may be. That's an agreement between two adults, a consent or whatever, that you're going to live, experience certain factors of life together. That's not how to say would hurt the person unless somewhere along the line now you and the person decide, hey, we're growing feelings for each other or whatever, you want to end it, yes or no, however maybe you go about it. But I feel the hurt does come from being misled. A lot of women just get misled, or a lot of guys just mislead women to get what they want. And I could honestly say I'm a person from small. I don't need to mislead you to get what I want. If you don't want to go about doing anything, then that's on you. Then I go look for the next one. But for me to lie to you, and like, let's say for high school, for instance, I have a lot of guys that would be like, hey, you want to be my girlfriend? Let's be boyfriend and girlfriend. And then they sleep together and then they break up. Then you see them in and out relationships. Because everybody wants to be a boyfriend, girlfriend, because then it's going to be okay for them to have sex.
But you know what? And that's so true, Ranchi, and that's why I think men lie to women. If men can have conversations where it's like, you know what, this is what I want, and then women don't be like, well, yeah, but I want a relationship. You know what I'm saying? So then it kind of cuts off your chances of getting stuff like that. So I think that's the main reason why dudes be lying to females, because it's like, in a sense, like they want to be lied to.
Yeah,
Which is
no. So then, okay.
You're
So
saying
then,
that the woman want to be lied to.
no. Wait.
I don't think they want to be lied to. And more thing, women are living like in a fantasy.
Exactly.
They live in a fantasy and in a romance
But
and a
this
fairy
is my
tale.
question. There are many people out there that would be willing to say yes. So if you seeking someone and you're honest and they do not want, or you realize through conversation they do not want what you want, why don't you then move on to the next? Why is it that you would have to lie to this individual
because
to accomplish what you want?
Because that's the individual that you want. You don't want to find somebody else.
But then you have to know going in there, you're getting ready to cause some problem.
Okay, I'm just gonna put this disclaimer out there. I'm just stating these things. I have not done these things of late, but I'm just letting you know this is a disclaimer. So don't be
of late.
Nikki's like, what, Lucien?
Yeah, exactly. So just letting y'all know, I'm just like being a devil's advocate of sorts. Just be like, because for me, it's like, when a dude is totally honest with a female, you give her that you give her the option, which is a good thing. A lot of females are happy because you give them the option, and they might still kick it with you. But most females be like, okay, you give me the option, thank you, but deuces. You know what I'm saying?
But they're gonna say the deuces, but at the same time, did you lose something though?
Right.
I don't see it as I lost something, in my opinion.
But I did that. I did that.
It would have been good. It would have been nice. But
I did that.
You cut it off. You cut it off.
I let them know. I let the ones know. Listen, I got a lady, but if you want, we can kick it, and it was cool. I did. Wow. I'm saying when I was involved with my situation, and I had my lady, and I was, with other women, I let them know, listen, I have a significant other.
Yeah, but you're still around.
I mean, I'm not trying to justify. I'm just saying that I did speak my truth and let them know, hey, I was open with it. I wasn't
I
trying
did the
to
same.
deceive anybody or lie to anybody other than my girl.
Okay, but again,
which was not
we
good.
we
It
kind
ain't
of
good, but I did the same also. Like,
Yeah, I
to be
mean,
honest, I did the
it was
same.
really not a nice thing, and I wouldn't. Like I said,
I
I've
think that's
definitely
a
learned heavy
selfish
from that.
behavior.
It was. I'm not denying that. It was.
Yeah. Yeah. Wait, let me read some comments. Let me go back.
Sit down, sit down.
Wanda agreed that it was selfish. That's selfish. Nikki said most men do not share true expectations. Wanda said, but most are not being honest about that, based on what you were saying, Ranchi. Kima said, when I was 6 months pregnant, one of my exes told me that he was interested in a girl at his job. I told him, have fun. They didn't last. Everybody quiet? Everybody's quiet.
What do you say? Like, what do
When I
you
was
say?
6 months
How do you
pregnant, my
receive
ex.
that?
Catherine said, I've been through it all. That's why I'm not involved until the right, I think she meant the right time. And then Kima said, I've never had the chance to thank her. So that's how that went.
Yeah, but you know, waiting on a right thing is a thing.
Huh?
I don't like. Is there a right thing? Is there a right one? Because even after 30 years, like Patricia said, divorce could still happen.
True.
Yep.
But
So,
that's
like,
because of selfish actions.
Yes, I understand that, but I mean to say, is there a right thing? Really?
We don't know. We have to just. It's a chance you're taking. You know, it's a chance.
It's always a chance. So
But
why
you
not
know-
be happy?
But you know what's so
You know,
funny?
I
Because
think
why does remember, right? And this one has stuck with me from one of the last discussions. What's her name? Kiora? It was Kiora, right? Kiora said she was happy with a guy. 6 months, 7 months going down the road, happy as she's ever been, super happy. And then another guy told her to check the guy's phone.
the police.
The policeman, you understand? But that's just it. Like, what's wrong with just being happy though?
Yeah, people want it all. They want it all.
Yeah, but that's it. What's wrong with being happy? If you can be happy, like for me right now, I just in search of happiness. I don't like stress. I don't want argument. I don't want to fight. I don't want to cuss. I want to be happy. I want to come home and sleep.
I agree with you,
peace.
Ranchi.
Like, what's so wrong with happiness?
No, but people
Everybody just look at, let's say, Jay-Z and Beyonce. Wait, are they happy though? All the money they have, are they happy?
Don't have time for the minutia. Just
Nobody knows.
Seek happiness.
Absolutely
if somebody brings
don't.
you happiness,
Well, I don't want happiness. I want peace. I think when I get peace, you'll be happy. Peace is more important to me right now.
That's a good
When
one.
I have that peace, I'll be happy.
But you know what, too? It depends on, like, I think that a lot of people use like TV and stuff to gauge happiness, like what you see, like what they see on TV. Like, oh wow, doing this will make me happy. Doing that will make me happy. But happiness is an inside job, yo. You have to be happy with yourself. You know, you can't make anybody else happy either if you're not happy with yourself. You know,
happiness is definitely what you make it. It's your comfort level. It's where you at. Like Pat says, that it's at peace with yourself, peace with your surroundings. You know,
exactly.
Happiness is within yourself, man. It could be a multitude of things.
So yeah, but at the end of the day, heartbreak can disrupt a human's happiness.
That's why you have to heal.
That's why
you have to heal and move on.
Heartbreak. Again. Some things is going to cause us pain. Why can't we just accept that as a fact? If you fall down and hit your head on the concrete, which I think some people have done already, you ain't gonna feel some pain. So you telling me that you're in a relationship, you got whatever, you lost your mother, you lost your sibling, you lost somebody in life. To believe, and I think this is the problem we suffer in this time. We think that we are supposed to never feel any pain in life, and it's not a fact. The fact is we're going to feel pain. The fact is each and every one of us have had multiple heartbreaks.
Correct.
So how do we deal with it, and how do we help our loved ones deal with it? That's
Well,
the
let
fact.
me say
Healing.
let me say something before we came live. Louis and I were having a conversation, and I think it goes back to, and we've talked about this before, expectations. I think that word creates a lot of unnecessary pain, because a lot of times we do go into situations, relationships, whatever, with expectations and hopes and dreams, and yeah, they say have visions and goals, but at the end of the day, we have to, as humans, realize that everything is not going to work out the way that we think for this moment. It can change in the next second. And I think once we start to understand and grasp that nothing is guaranteed, it will make us, not that we're not going to experience the heartbreak and the hurt, but it will make us be able to get through it a lot quicker. Because I think a lot of people get stuck because they are so stuck in the expectations and the hopes and dreams that they had for whatever the situation is.
Let me show you something else too, right? You ever sat down and think about, let's suppose somebody dies of natural causes, like they're like 89 and they die. And you're so sad, you're crying, you're upset. Once again, this is just a thought, so don't like freaking try to kill me. The thing about it is, aren't we being selfish? Especially if you're a Christian and you believe in the you going to heaven, or they going to heaven, and then you're sad, you're angry that the person is dead. But isn't that you being selfish? If you know the person has moved on to like a better place, shouldn't you be happy for them? Right?
Is that you could be, my mother passed away when she was 85. I know she died in a better place. That don't mean I did not hurt when she passed on.
Yeah, but
and this is the thing we do to one another. We dismiss people's heart because we want to make it logical. Heart is heart. Yes, if I bring the best of me to a situation, it may guarantee, no, it doesn't, because I have no control over the next person. And no, not one of us enter any relationship with the idea that anything was going to break our hearts. Not one of us. But then our hearts got broken, and we have to figure out how to get to the other side, the happiness. How do we get out the pain? How do we get there?
That's being naive thinking. In every relationship you go into, you have to have leave a little room for disappointment as time goes on.
Yeah, but let me tell you, when you were young and you get your first heartbreak, nobody didn't leave no room for no disappointment.
I mean, it's when you're young. I mean, yeah, sure.
But that's what I'm saying. We're talking about heartbreak. We ain't talking about it when you're older. We ain't talking about it when you're mature. We're talking about heartbreak in general. Me and my daughter had this discussion because she was in love. It was her first love. And when they break up, I was like, oh, okay. She tell me I let her cry on my lap. But then after about 3 months or so, because she was listening to stuff there, and she was like, yeah, but mom, you wasn't considerate. And I was like, yes, I was. She said, no, you were considerate for about 2-3 months. You let me cry on your lap, and and then I cry on Auntie Nikki's lap, and you were nice to me. But after month 3, you were like, okay, pull it together. It's time to get over him. This is what I'm talking about. Yeah. She just tell me, and I tell her we're going to talk about it on the show, because we have to be careful. People are hurt. It was her first love. I don't know how long she'll take to do. Maybe she did now. I don't know. She will be upset that I mentioned it. The point is, we all have had hurt. Stop diminishing people and telling them they're hurting too long. They shouldn't have hurt. We got to stop this. We have to stop it. That's just why I'm going to keep saying.
But
we don't know what people been through.
I just think that we don't deal with reality when it comes to relationships. It's like we don't deal with reality. And that's a problem. As I said before, we keep on thinking about it as as what we want to happen, how it should happen. But it's a reality situation. Anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? And we have to understand that. Even if you've been with somebody for 50 years and they'd be like, you know what, it was nice, but I stayed with you this long because I thought I owed you something. But yeah, I want to go out there. I want to live. I want to live. I want to get my bucket list going on, and I don't want to cheat on you. You didn't expect that. You didn't see that coming. But that person is being honest with you. Do you think that him staying with you and cheating would be better than him being realistic and telling you how they feel?
It's every individual gonna approach these things differently. Some people rather not know. Some people say ignorance is bliss. Some people say tell me the truth. I can't tell you what would be best for somebody else, you know.
Wait 1 second. Kima said, I want to go back to some of these comments. Kima said, the best mom always reminds me to enjoy life and love, but to always leave room for disappointment. This has saved me heartache. Odette said, we have to be happy in the moments. Expectations are heartbreaks.
Yep.
Wanda said, especially if it's willfully. I'm not sure. Catherine said, Lucian, great point. She also said, true, Pinky. And Marcelino said, heartbreak and relationship can make you stronger depending on how you deal with it. Although heartbreak comes in many forms, I'm supposing that this discussion is based on love relationships. It's actually not. I mean, at the end of the day, it could be, because at the end of the day, you love your job, you love your children, you love your family members. So yeah, usually heartbreak comes because of some form of love you have for something that you no longer have anymore. Odette said, honesty, talk, and recognizing that some people are meant for a season to help guide and teach us. Once we accept that, letting go is easier. Kima said, Imani said, Brittany's mad. Kima said, I should enter into relationships telling them, I know you're going to break my heart. Then I'll be delightfully surprised when it doesn't happen.
You know, I like what Marcelino said, because anybody who have been through a heartbreak of any kind, we do come out stronger. We come out better. But we have to get to the other side. And that's the point here. Helping one another, giving us the tools to get to the other side, the side where we are stronger. Because when you're in that heartbreak, ain't not one you're going to tell me how you feel strong and victorious. I mean, maybe Debbie, because she's the ultimate optimist. But
again, you said it earlier, everybody deals. I think that there's some, I don't think I thought about it consciously, but I think because I did have my heart broken really young, I learned in life, and maybe that relationship told me that someone can say, I can't say they did, but someone can say they love you and they care about you and still hurt you. And I have learned that it's not necessarily because they are being malicious, but it is a lot of times because of something within them. And that's how they're showing up. And I think that's how I'm able to, when I've experienced heartbreak, I have been able to move on. I'm not saying that it's always easy. I had to realize that there's a little form in me, a little person in me that has a little bit of control issues. I didn't think I have control issues, but when I wasn't able to necessarily grasp the reason for certain heartbreaks, I stayed stuck a little bit longer than I normally would. But I also, again, think it's also how vested you are in the situation and how honest you are with the situation. But at the end of the day, like I have made, I guess, a decision in my life that I am not going to allow somebody else to make me stuck. So yeah, I'll be mad. Yeah, I'll be heartbroken. But life is short. People are dropping down for all kind of reasons. I plan to, that might be the James Blood. I think that's just how we think. I plan to enjoy life. And yes, and I'm hoping that I'm imparting this on my kids and on my all my little children. You know, I have all these extra children, sons and daughters. And one of the things I try to tell them is, at the end of the day, you cannot get stuck because there's too much life to live.
That's right.
And we have to find ways, and everybody finds it differently. I am fortunate that I have had friends and family that I can have conversations with. I've never had to necessarily seek professional counseling, but I'm also somebody that I'm a researcher. So I'm going to go out there and I'm going to read and I'm going to watch videos and I'm going to do things that are going to help me so I can be better for the next situation. But I really, really believe that that we have to start to grasp that we are going to get let down in life, again, by children, by family, by loved ones, by all kinds of situations. But it's just that we have to learn that we have to get over that hump quicker so we don't waste a lot of time.
That's right.
You know, today I was watching, I don't know if that's the video I sent, but the video was talking about, and it was very interesting. No, this was another video I watched. The guy was talking about how the romantic relationship of all the relationships, it'll bring out another side of people. It'll bring out a craziness in people. We have seen people in heartbreak that look practically lost their mind. If you had seen me 5 years ago, you would have thought I had lost my mind. Not the fact that I did lost my mind, I had just shut down from the wall, right? It is a fact that in these romantic relationships, the brain function is just like being addicted to some major drug. Now, maybe we love in different degrees. Maybe we go into love, and I think we do. Everybody's talking about love, and they love differently. Your relationships are all different. So that's why we have to be very cautious in what we're saying about these things. It's not that the person, because the person love or whatever, but I do like what Odette said. Odette said, at the end of the day, self-love, understanding yourself, understanding how you have gotten yourself into these situations is one of the best places to start. I think it is the best place to start. Figuring out the relationship, like how did I get here? What did I do? What was my choices? Instead of blaming the other person, because people are people. They're going to show up however they're going to show up. You know, we can't decide how a person going to show up in the wall, but we can decide how we choose to show up in the wall. And when we start at self and we look at self and we look at how the choices we made, and sometimes in our cases, we made choices when we were kids. We didn't know no better. For me, I had to forgive myself for the choices I made also. And I had to tell myself, girl, you didn't know no better. This was just the circumstances. And I had to let that go. That was a part of my healing. Because we don't question ourselves, well, was I too fat? Was I too loud? Was I too angry? And you know what? Maybe I was all them things. Maybe I was all them things plus more, okay? And a bag of chips. But that's life, right? That's life. So even if I was all those things plus more, that's life. I need to forgive myself and I need to know his choices, her choices were their choices. It weren't mine. And that's that at the end of the day. We got to forgive them and we have to forgive ourselves. Or we forgive ourselves first or forgive them. I don't know which one is which, but forgiveness is the key to move into the next level.
That's true. You have to forgive yourself and the individual. And that's the hardest thing.
Because because we don't know what some people been through in some relationships. So we might see people holding on to some pain for some long time.
You can't talk about forgiveness like it's so easy because, yeah, Pink, you're right. People going to hold on to, I mean, people react differently and they're hurt different. So some divorces don't go as routine as others. And whatever routine is, I don't know, you know what I mean? Everybody has a different definition. So, yeah, it takes time. Like you said, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but one of the things, again, you all know I'm always saying that, yes, this platform is here to help us, but this platform is also to create a healthier legacy for our children. And so I'm hoping that with this conversation, this is something that you all are going to have and discuss with your kids and discuss with anybody younger to mentor, because again, You know, like I tell my children, if I'm telling you something, it's because I've been down that road. It doesn't make sense for you to have to go down the same road as long as I went down. So I never had, you know, my mom died when I was 22. I never had this conversation that you're going to have heartbreak and you're going to have to find ways to deal with it. So if nothing else, I'm hoping that, you know, these conversations don't end here in this group, and that you take it to your family and your friends, and be honest with the fact that people are going to go through stuff, and just hopefully you find ways to get out of it a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Or
find a way, support system, anything.
Based off of what Pinky was saying earlier with how people just get crazy on love, with breakups and stuff like that, I feel a lot of people struggle basically with loving themselves. They just put so much effort in loving another person and forgetting to love themselves. Because the minute you stop loving yourself for a relationship, the relationship already starts to fail. That's how I see it. You're supposed to be your true self in a relationship, by yourself and in a relationship. And if your partner cannot give you that or allow you to be your true self or be yourself, I think you have a problem straight. The whole relationship is just Titanic. It makes no sense, in my opinion.
Patricia, what's your take on this whole thing? You've been quiet for a while.
Everybody over talking.
I just think that I'm just listening and observing and taking in everything that they're saying. I just think that you should treat people the way you want to be treated. You shouldn't think selfishly. It's not all about you, but if you're in a relationship with somebody else, you should think about their feelings too. Because a woman gets emotionally involved. Men really don't get emotionally involved unless they're really starting to feel love for you. But a woman, as soon as you have intercourse with her, you don't make a connection, bram. It could be, you could be just friends, you're just friends hanging out or whatever, but from the time you get that closeness, she as a female, that bond is already start to flare up. Because that's what women do. We fall in love emotionally first.
Some women.
Honey, girl, let me tell you, that's old school thinking, and I with you old school thinking. Mm-hmm. I said that.
I didn't hear what you said.
I said I with you with that thinking, but it got a different wall out here that we familiar with, my son.
I mean, because
we familiar, Patricia.
What about the women that got multiple partners? They don't feel connection with a lot of them.
See what Patricia see?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The women out there that got multiple partners. So like you're saying, I guess they don't feel a connection with all of them. Because that happens. Let's not negate that.
Okay, well, see again, Patricia, this is all we ain't familiar with, because it's got a hookup culture and stuff now, and it's...
I am not familiar with that word because I'm not out there like that. I try to stay away from that world because I don't want to get caught up in that world.
Right.
I'm old school, and I believe that you should have one partner. And if you break up, you heal from that partner and you try to move on, not just jump from one to the next to the next. I think that we lose a lot of respect for ourselves by doing that. We don't respect ourselves when we could just move from one to the next to the next. We have to have some kind of level of respect for ourselves.
True, but we talked about this yesterday.
Also,
we talked about this yesterday. We have to remember is everybody is not enlightened. Everybody is not at a place where they are intentionally living this life. Some people are just living, and they're taking their brokenness to people. And so you would think that they would think about other people, but at the end of the day, if they're doing this and they're doing whatever they're doing repeatedly to more than one person, or to one person and more, that's a flaw in them that will, until they reach to the point where they want to be better and do better, they're going to continue to do that. And that's why we have to, again, like Ranchi said, self-love, we have to know what we're going to accept and what we're not going to accept. Because even for me, when I look back at my marriage, I don't necessarily, I wouldn't say necessarily I have, well, I do. People say you shouldn't have regrets. I do have regrets. I have a regret that I stayed in it way too long. Because again, I had this perception of when I got married to stay married. And so for me, and then I give people chances. But at the end of the day, was that him? I giving you chances means that you could keep doing nonsense. So I can't blame that person because that's that person's issue and their fault. I blame myself for staying in a situation thinking the person is going to do to me what I am doing to them. That wasn't happening. So like what Pinky said, like we have to understand the role that we play in it as well. So yes, heartbreak is going to happen, but how severe the heartbreak happens sometimes has a lot to do with how we allow people to break our heart even more.
Yes.
And that's what I had to come to terms with as well, because I could pinpoint times when I was like, this should have done. And I stayed in it and stayed in it and stayed in it and stayed in it for 25 years when it should have ended the first year. It should have never started. But anyway, but neither here nor there. But I'm at a place in my life now that I know what I'm going to accept. And I know that if I see shadiness, it's not for me, because I don't want to put myself in a situation where I'm going to be in something longer than I need to be. So we would hope people would treat us right, but that ain't the world we live in.
I want to say
I don't blame myself for his actions. And like you said, I blame myself for staying in it too long and keep forgiving, and it just keep happening continuously. But we have to have self-respect for ourselves, not to allow someone to abuse us in those kind of ways.
Exactly.
It's an individual thing. Every relationship is different and everybody handles things different. But I think if you have self-control and you have respect for yourself, you wouldn't do something like that. It could be a childhood trauma that you went through and you haven't grown or you haven't healed from that trauma. So you're just living your life just hurting people. You have people that just living their life hurting people because they haven't healed from whatever trauma they had as teenagers, or a heartbreak that they had as teenager in high school, and they just carried that for the rest of their life. I think that the older we get, I think that we should be more mature and we should be mentally grown enough to accept that some people just that way. So we just need to just get rid of them and move on.
But this is why on Sammy and Debbie have this discussion. So we don't agree to disagree on this all the time. The reason why we don't have regrets like that is because we cannot change the past. So to live in a state of regret when you didn't know any better, to expect a person at 45 to understand something, hindsight is always 20/20. And if I'm 45 and I grow, and I like what Odette says, if you've learned and you've grown, we have to know that we have to have experiences. We will learn. Of course, we're going to make mistakes. But in the process of making mistakes, we have to forgive ourselves because we didn't know any better. Let me finish my thought. I listen to, we're going to agree to disagree. That's just how it is. At the end of the day, forgiveness of ourselves and the choices we made when we did not know any better is just having love and compassion for ourselves. You're going to reprimand your child who is 5 years old. And Debbie, you used the example about expecting a little newborn, a little boy who just come into the world to understand things that an older child would understand, but he can't because at his age. How could we have that same compassion for a child, but we can't have it for ourselves? That's all I'm saying. We have to have compassion for ourselves. Yes, we've done foolish things, but did we know any better at the end of the day? Debbie, you say you know better, so I'm going to leave that in your hand. You knew better, you should have leave. I understand. But what I wanted to say also about the young ladies now who is in a part of the hookup culture, I wanted to address that. We were raised differently, right? So I don't want to pass judgment on the hookup culture.
Don't wait before you go into that. I don't want you to make it seem like hookup culture just start. It happened in our generation too. So
yes, but it wasn't out like it is now, and it was not as accepted back then as it is now. And all I want to say is,
that's a matter of opinion. That's a matter of perspective.
Okay, sure. All I want to say is, when we raised in a certain environment, like Patricia, you were raised in a church. A lot of us was raised in a church back in the days. Our perception of the world is different. So these young people who are out here doing all this kind of stuff that they're doing, they've seen all kind of things on TV. They live in a different culture. They're raised underneath a different code. That's why they're making these decisions. Me excusing nobody behavior, me saying nothing is okay. I just saying I just look at it from that perspective.
And I will say, no, Pinky, it's not only based off of television. I will also say it's based off of the older heads. Because all the older heads that have been through things, just always turn around and tell the young ones, bye, don't do that, don't do this. But if I were younger, I wouldn't have put up with that. I would have just leave that. I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that. I would just jump on that one, because holding on to that and going through this problem and that part don't make no sense. I find we misguiding them with the wrong information. Yes,
we did.
Yes, you shouldn't put up with stuff, but at the same time, if you in love, and because love is a real thing. Let me not act like it ain't a real thing. If you love somebody and you're willing to, and both parties, let me say that both parties are willing to move past or work on the relationship or do whatever and build together, you can't tell the person no, but don't forget. That's the same person that hurt you back then, because then you're not helping that person move on from that hurt. You must move on from the hurt. If you keep dragging those anchors with you, every relationship you jump in, you're attaching a new anchor to your waist, or every problem you're dragging along with you, you're stuck in a spot that you're moving from.
Stuck on stupid.
Yeah, exactly. And you have to move forward in life. This thing was being stagnant or waiting for the same results somebody had back then, or going on the same path somebody walked. That's not your path. Everybody have their own book to write. And no matter what book you pick up, whether it's the same book, the pages are different color, no matter what book you pick up, all of them will be the same book, but the pages got different color. The paper gonna feel different. The cover gonna be crushed up on this corner, that corner. Every path different. And you have to tell people to walk your own path. Make your own decision. It's not a bad decision. To tell somebody that the decision they make is a bad decision, not a bad decision. It's their choice. They choose to walk that road, so let them walk. If you hit your foot, you hit your foot. As a child, you fall down when you're learning to walk.
Right. And that's the thing about relationships too.
It's the same
you're going to hit your foot.
You're going to hit your foot, you're going to trip up, you're going to fall, but you have to be able to get up and keep moving forward. There's a lot of children that are born reading. You stumble on your words until you learn how to speak.
I love how you put that.
Life. So live. I just got this quote where I'm not holding on to no trauma and holding on to no grudge and none of that. You have to live. You have to move forward. If you want to hold on to the past, we ain't going nowhere in the relationship. So if you
exactly
say the man was cheating, and every time you have a discussion of this man trying now to be different and do something nice for you, or go dinner, take you out, and you start to bring up females that he been with. Oh, you must have was here with Shirley. Oh, you know about this way. You must have here with that one or that one. You're going to create problems, and then the man just going to get tired of you, and he's not going to take you nowhere. And he's going to go and continue doing his rudeness, because no matter what he do, you're holding him to your rudeness. So he's gonna live your rudeness out. If you blame
that would be a relationship.
But you know what, too? We have to look at the cultural aspect of it as well, especially how to deal with relationships. Like culturally, women are supposed to just stay home, take it, and the man go out there and do what he wants to do. You know what I'm saying? So there is that cultural aspect of it within the Caribbean that's been going on for centuries. You know what I'm saying?
I don't even believe that culture still exists, because since women got their independence and allowed to have the same job a man could do, everybody doing what you can't say that's cultural. I don't say that's cultural. I don't see that's cultural.
It's cultural because women have had the experience where, because they choose to walk away from us, it wasn't acceptable to walk away because he cheated. You'll hear he just cheating. He's just a man.
Right. But then too, Ronchi, you gotta understand too, like your generation is different from my generation. My generation different from Debbie them generation.
That's
You know,
true too.
Mama in your backside.
You're right,
Whatever.
Lucian. You like
Like I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
How about that?
Oh my God.
Your power in your backside.
So anyway, but at this,
My
yeah,
generation too. I'm not part of that.
but
Lies.
it's a true thing because back in the day, like I mean, even before Debbie them, if you can believe that, before Debbie them generation, I mean, women were just like getting carried up and down the place, and the men were just doing their thing, and the females were just staying at home. Then they would be like, "Girl, the man cussy the man," but then they ain't going no place. They're staying right there at home.
Look,
Now-
we used to get in trouble for even cussing them. Okay, like older women don't talk like that. Look, please.
Exactly. So you gotta understand where the cultural aspect of it comes in, Ranchi, because in your generation, I mean, these females, they're way different. You know what I'm saying? They're like, yeah, my mom, my grandmother, my auntie could have stayed there with that BS, but me ain't doing it. So it's a different.
But again, it's also what they saw. So now they're going
Right.
to. Because I hear my kids say it. It's also what they saw, and so even if you're not even having a conversation, what they've experienced, and they made a decision that they are not going to experience it, so they're going the whole opposite direction. But wait, before, because we come in close. Nikki said you should not blame yourself for being terrorized by a terrorist. I think she was talking to me. Norma said that was me, Debbie. And she said on here she was in a marriage for 39. She stayed longer. She was in a relationship for 39 years. That ended. Wanda said humans.
Who said that?
Norma.
In a relationship 39 years?
Yeah.
How did that end?
I'm not sure, but it
I'd be
did.
interested.
Wanda said, humans are supposed to be the most intelligent, but we act worse than animals.
That's true.
What?
That's true.
Nikki said, no, if someone keeps giving you hope, any person will stay. And then Kima said, girl, I'm calling you just now. I don't know. I think she's talking to Norma or Nikki. Odette said, break the curse for the sake of our children. Stop the cycle of the family ways that are not doing anything for them. And then Kima was saying the whole hookup culture thing. I think she was saying the difference is just that it wasn't caught on tape, like it's caught on tape now. So it exists. But a lot of these things were still happening. I know families where there's like 7 children and they all got different fathers. So things happened long time ago. It just was unspoken. And then let me see. Wanda said true. Okay. She was saying true, but there is a right and wrong period. Nikki said, I heard this week, men only remember good things and women only remember the bad. Is that true? Kima said, I've got a dweller vying for my time. He dwells on slavery in every conversation. I think that's in regards to when Ryan was saying people bringing up stuff all the time. And then my other cousin said her brother knew I was going to say something. I don't know who she was talking about. I was trying to read these comments while we're going long, but it was a lot. Wanda was asking which part of this isn't true.
Part of what?
Let me go back.
Patricia, you want to answer that question?
I don't know what she's talking about. I think she was talking to something that
Oh,
Ranchi.
she's talking to Ranchi. She's talking to Ranchi.
Talk to me, but
Yeah, but I can't remember
whoa.
what it was that she was saying that wasn't true. So she'll probably put it in here again.
Karen said that you're talking about the Harriet Tubman generation, man. That ain't generation.
Throwing people under the bus, but different generation with a whole beard full of gray hair. But anyhow, we ain't gonna go there.
I grade young. That's okay.
Whatever.
That's all right.
But again, we coming up to 3 minutes.
Oh, I think it's on culture. Some Tracy right on culture.
Yeah, but it wasn't. I don't think it was that.
No, it's when I was talking about culture, then Ranchi was like, he don't believe it's true.
Oh, yeah. And so I guess that's just saying what part of it isn't true.
What part of it isn't true, right?
Because no, Juana was saying about when she made the comment about humans being the most intelligent but behaving worse than animals, and Ryan said that's not true.
No, but look, the person said yes, like what I said underneath about a culture thing.
Okay, so
both of them talking about.
So for Wanda talking about animals. You see a dog? I understand dogs. I know what dog is, right? A dog ain't got no home. Whoever feed him, make him happy. Whoever feed him is who he gonna stay by. A lion. You seen a lion in a jungle walking with a bunch of lioness. So you see one king. We have a horde of females walking with him, right? That's a lion. Everybody respect the lion, right? He's the king. So you can't say we men wasn't animals because we have one lioness walking beside us and a few cubs. And secretly, you just run off in the bush and do the thing. But let's turn it off. When it comes to culture, times, you have to grow with the times. You got to grow with the times. And that's my opinion when it comes to culture. We have to grow with the times. You can't hold on to them olden days and back in the day and the old day and my grandparents and my grandmother and my mother. They will all grow up in different times way before these times. So to hold on to those factors of how they were living and how they do it and how they went about it, I don't see me doing operating that way in these times.
Okay.
Well, we are human beings, and we could use our brain. Animals don't use their brain that much like we can. They're not. I'm not saying that right. But you know what I'm trying to say. Like
you have to understand, Pinky. If we give like a bird a test to take, the bird gonna fail. If we're given like a flight to take, we gonna fail. It's just apples and oranges. In their world, they have smart animals. In our world,
of course, I said I wasn't saying that right, because octopuses are very smart, whales are very smart. There's a lot of very, very smart animals out there. So I didn't say that they're right. But what I'm saying is we have a conscious brain, and we can think and we can make decisions based on our environment and our world.
Oh, wait a minute. So can animals. They make decisions based on their environment.
Yeah, they do.
That's how they learn. Didn't. I didn't say they didn't. I'm saying
it just sounded like you were making a comparison.
I said they're very smart animals. I use whales. I ain't going down that story with you. Anyway, back to what I was saying.
Anyway, I'm saying, it just makes you.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, I was trying to get to Ranchi's scenario when he was talking about a woman that complained about everything. Now that's a relationship that needs work, because there are pressing issues in that relationship that is being ignored, right? That every time you go out, the woman nagging, and that's a relationship that may need to come to an end, or it needs counseling because it needs help. That the relationship ain't gonna get better overnight if she just stopped nagging about the women. There is a hurt there. There is a pain there that's being covered up with a Band-Aid. It's a cancer that's being covered up with a Band-Aid. I just wanted to talk about that relationship. So a lot of times we're talking about heartbreak. We bickering, we fighting about certain issues. Are we ignoring it? And if they are ignoring it, we are older now. We're not back in when we were kids before, like Debbie said she had no better, she should have left. We're adults now. We know that one part is leading one place, another part is leading another place. Now we have to make a wise decision. Also, we help our young ones in making decisions, so they don't end up in the same boat that we were in, because now we know better. We never have experiences in life for no reason, Every experience is teaching us something valuable, not just for us, but for somebody else. So we could share our experience and we could help other people. That's why we have the experience.
Debbie, who made that clip? What's your reference?
Kima said, I know, right? She said, like Cleopatra cheated 29 ways from Sunday, but never got caught because she always made sure she was pregnant by her king first.
She's just that man for walking a
But-
baby head.
She was.
That's all she was doing.
When he
Wow.
talked about
I'm not making no comments to that, Kima. Okay, that's good. Okay, yeah.
Well,
What you
it
say,
is
Patricia?
9:32.
Well, Patricia was saying
Hour and a
something.
half goes by quickly.
King of the jungle with the lioness, but you remember he only used to hump them when he wants to procreate. He never used to be around them all the time. He didn't have one specific. He was just jumping from. So if we're going to be talking about the animals, and we'll be jumping from one to the next all the time. He used to have a whole lot of them, but it was to procreate.
Yeah,
So we can't use
are
animals
higher
when it comes
conscious
to
beings.
humans. We're smarter.
No, because we're
God
higher
gave us
conscious
a
beings, right?
choice to make in life. He gave us common sense.
True.
But
That's true.
but Patricia, if we want to discuss how man used to be and man still is, men usually used to have more than one wife back in the day, right? So then we were kind of mimicking what the animals.
And that's why
were
they
doing.
used to have so much problems. Like now,
They have all-
right?
Karen says she
I'm
hasn't had a heartbreak since July 2004. She even know the month. She said, I made it a priority to protect my peace and heart at all costs, and it has never failed. We know that, Karen.
There you go.
That's
Who's
it.
yelling
You
at
know,
you?
and I like what Karen said about the protection, because some people don't like when you talk about protecting your heart and protecting yourself. I don't understand why, but at the end of the day, we have to show up wiser than we were when we made them mistakes.
Hey, sure,
Right.
I keep it up did.
People just protect their heart and their self with too much walls. At the same time, you're protecting yourself, but at the same time, you have to give yourself to somebody.
You're
You
right.
can't say you're getting in a relationship with somebody, you're protecting yourself, but
Right.
you're withholding all of yourself away from the person. What's the point of the relationship?
And
You know,
also
it's
it requires so much effort to do wrong.
Much more effort.
Way more effort. So
Yeah.
But
It
again,
actually takes less effort to do wrong.
no,
Sorry.
sorry.
Yes.
You keep that to yourself. That's
I'm
it. Your
not
wall.
going down that path with
That's
Ayo.
it,
I am
your
so
wall.
sorry to
You
say
did that,
it
your wall.
is easier for weeds to come up in a garden than for your flowers to
We ain't
grow.
got in here.
Look up,
Okay?
look
We
it up.
talking-
Look
We
it up.
got in here.
I'm
We
not
talking
dealing
about
with
weeds.
this.
We talking about man and woman and the resources that are involved.
Okay.
Okay, totally different
The
conversation.
humanness in us, the
Yeah.
humanness inside of us.
it is 9:35. We will pick this conversation back up on something else, I am sure. But I again want to thank everybody. I want to thank you, Pat, for agreeing. And I just want you to know that when we have guests on, it's not the only time. So we will be reaching back out to you again. Hopefully you will say yes.
Sure.
Thank you. And
Thank you so much, Patricia.
Thank you for having
thank
me.
you for coming through. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I was on there. I'm always here.
I really appreciate it. And again, thank you all our viewers, for commenting, getting involved in the conversation. Those on YouTube, we appreciate it. We will be back here next week, Thursday. Please be safe, take care, and have a great rest of your weekend.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you, Patricia.
No
Wishing you
problem.
good things, great
Thank you
things.
for all the
Take
Take
comments.
care, everyone.
Wow.